r/legal advice. Black Salt 937 says, parents want to put their car in my name so they can buy a house. Hi, my parents initially asked me if I had any money to lend them so they can make a down payment on another home they'd like to buy. I don't have any money to lend, so they asked if they could put one of their car's titles in my name. Apparently they cannot be approved for a loan unless they have no standing debts. Also, apparently there isn't much left of the car to pay off. Is this recommended? My credit score is pretty decent at the moment and I wouldn't want to mess it up. Edit, they would pay it off, not me. They don't think this would impact me at all in any way. Paramedicine 3955 says, I used to be in the automotive business and this happens more than you'd think. It's what's known as a straw purchase. I'm not sure of your credit line/family circumstances, but this would be something I'd personally advise against. I'm sure the vehicle loan would be 5/6 years and that will be on your credit the entire time. If they make the payments on time, it'll probably actually improve your credit score. However, if you want to get your own car loan one day, it'll be much more difficult because you'll already have an open auto loan on account and will most likely need a cosigner unless you have a great income. Also goes without saying that if they miss any payments your credit will be negatively affected. 5 to 6 years is a long time. Most people I've seen do straw purchases end up regretting it in the long run. Sorry for the rant lol, just my opinion. Black Salt 937 says, doesn't sound like a rant to me. I'll show this to them and talk about it now that you've informed us a bit more. Thank you. Granita Basket says, also, if there really isn't much left to pay off on the car, they should simply finish paying it off before trying to buy another house. It doesn't add up for them to claim it's almost paid off, but it should go under your name so they don't have this debt. For Kesources says, them asking you to do this means they can't afford the mortgage, which also means they can't afford the car payments. Are you able to make the car payments when they inevitably stop paying? Axel Sog says, this is an absolutely terrible idea. Think about how many times people get ed over by family saying here, do this. I'll pay for it, just put it in your name. Warped Perspective says, now, if your name is on it, you will be responsible for it. Are you cool with the potential of a worst case scenario where they can't make any payments and you have to pay the rest? Fam Lawyer says, don't get involved in someone else's financial shenanigans. Tell them to pay off the car or sell it and then go buy another house. Another idea, but I don't think you want to do the work it would take to protect yourself. Agree to the car deal on the condition that your gift to them is acknowledged at closing and that you are a 1/3 owner on the conveyance deed to the property. C for 55 says, isn't this essentially mortgage fraud? Straight Yellow 8200 says, 1. Mixing money and family is a sure way to ruin relationships. Do you really want to be reminding them each month for a payment? Happy Thanksgiving, remember you owe for $400. Never mix family and money. Pretty sure 80% of Reddit posts exist because of this issue. 2. And I have excellent credit and have a home and cars and credit cards and don't need to put any future loan in someone else's name. The banks love me. If your parents can't make this happen on their own, why do you think you know better than the bank? r/legal advice. Mine questioner says, girlfriend was in an accident. Other driver tried to stop her from calling cops by saying his dad is a cop. My girlfriend was recently in a car accident while merging onto a highway. She had already finished merging and the other driver hit her in the back. While exchanging info, the other driver was acting very friendly, but then he started filming her and saying, I just need you to say that it was your fault. She told him she'd rather just call the police and he tried to dissuade her from doing that, saying they would side with him and that his dad was a cop. He ended up calling the cops, but my girlfriend said that she felt the cop was hardly acknowledging her and spent more time talking to him than her. At the end, the cop ended up telling her they should just let the insurance handle it. I think the guy ended up calling his dad and the dad sent one of his friends to help his son out. Him just wondering if him saying his dad was a cop and trying to dissuade her from calling the cops could be used against them in any way. Not Religion Dose says, you were correct in not admitting fault at the scene. Your insurance company will tell you never to admit fault under any circumstances. The insurance companies determine fault. City Dave says, in MA, the cop has to write a report if they are to scene and it is above certain dollar amount. I don't know what amount is now, but years ago it was pretty low. If the other driver did call his dad the cop, they may have sent one of his friends out. His friend maybe have seen that he rear-ended him and wanted nothing to do with getting involved. It could also be less nefarious than that, and the officer that showed up also could have not wanted to write a report of rear-ending, which in 99.99% of cases is the person behind's fault. Summer 184 says, the old my parent slash sibling slash cousin slash best friend is a cop is a giant red flag. She did the right thing by insisting that a police officer respond. The truth is that most police departments don't want to get involved with what is essentially a civil matter, and the report is more of an information exchange form. Thoughtful Madeline says, no, there's no legal issue here. Let insurance handle it, as they said. Sadidra says, even if the police officer had written a detailed report, insurance adjusters use evidence to make their own determinations about liability. It's good that the cop came out for safety issues for your girlfriend, but there's not really much a police officer can do in this situation, because it's a civil matter. Clean Factor 9673 says, my bigger concern would be him trying to get her to take the blame. The person doing the rear-ending is always at fault. The cop is correct, leave it to your insurance company. Jek6613 says, not always at fault, just almost always at fault. The example that comes to mind is if you're below the minimum speed in good conditions, or failure to yield during a merge. And stuff like this is why dashcams are your friend. r/legal advice. Jad1828 says, can neighbor lady complaining and keep on coming to our apartment when my son, ASD, cries. We live in an apartment complex on the first floor. We have our ASD son, and while his behavior is usually mild, there are times he would get upset and cry. Recently, we left the windows open due to seasonal allergy issues, and he was having a hard time in the morning demanding his snack. Lady comes over and knocks on our window, private area of our rental, and asks if everything is okay because she heard crying and shouting. Then later on we get call from leasing office about it. I can't control when my son is crying, and honestly it wasn't like he was crying for 2 hours. It was 15 minutes. This was not during quiet hour, this is during middle of the day. Can they just report us for having a crying child? Isn't this discriminatory against people with disabilities that impacts behavior? Also, her knocking on the window did not help at all, and very much felt violating. Stupid94 says, your neighbor can really complain about anything she wants. If she is trespassing, you can call the police or complain to the landlord. What actions did your landlord take other than telling you she complained? How do you believe they are discriminating against you? Shamrock 327 says, this isn't really a legal issue. She can report and complain as much as she wants. There's only an issue if, your landlord moves to evict. One option is to drop off wine/chocolate, apologize, and offer a gentle, concise summary of ASD. Something akin to what parents with newborns may do on a flight: candy, apology, earplugs. Gast Libagil says. Now but fair housing laws protect families from eviction for things like this. Your neighbor can complain, and I guess, be weird to an extent, but they can't evict you for your kid crying. ASD or no ASD, kids cry or have tantrums sometimes. Sometimes excessively, or after quiet hours. They're just noisy in general, and I personally don't think you have to explain his diagnosis to all the neighbors, nor do I think that it is wise to out your son to every person you don't trust to handle the information with respect. If there's a week where say, kiddo has an ear infection, or is particularly loud for some reason, a gift card for a coffee or something isn't gonna hurt the situation. But otherwise, your kid is being a kidimo. If your neighbor doesn't like hearing other people living, then perhaps an apartment/closed living situation is not ideal for them. Edit. I'm sure you're stressed and trying to be proactive about what you should do, and right now there isn't a lot you need to do. If you want to do something to feel prepared and ease any worry, find the tenants' rights group for your area. Save their number. Call and ask what you could say if the leasing office calls again about any future complaints about your child crying. Prestigious Menu 786 says. Now, are you saying that you're worried if she complains enough or enough people complain about your son crying or making other noise the leasing office could decide to kick you out? And wondering what your rights are in that case? That's what I'm getting from your posts. In that case the ADA may apply. I don't think it would hurt to have it documented. Maybe there's a local disability rights org that could help you with this. There's one in my area that works with people on exactly these kinds of things. Also about the window, maybe you could put a no trespassing sign up there? Oh, and screw that lady. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.